Shalom, shalom, shalom.
Shalom, Israel.
We're all set up out here again, you know. Got the signs out. Make sure we don't come out without the 12 tribes chart. We're ready to go. So, about to get started here. Yasharallah.
Of this field, including Daniel Carr, who's been.
And we're pretty much in the same spot. We're literally just around the corner in the other side of the building. But, without further ado, we're going to start out by giving all praises, honor, face the east, and give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. And we always give double honors to the apostles and the elders at Great Millstone. And peace and salutations to the hopeful and Akim that are pushing this word in truth and sincerity. We are the Hebrew Israelites of Idaho. We come in and week out prophesying the downfall and destruction of America. And we come prophesying in the true names of the Creator, which is the name of the Father, which is Yahweh, meaning He is, He exists. Also, we come in the name of Yahweh Shai, meaning He delivers, which the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, the Son of the Most High Yahweh. So, and we come in the Rakakwadash, which is Paleo tongue, Hebrew Paleo tongue for the Holy Spirit, and those are uttered in the Lashawan Kodash, which is the Holy Tongue. So, without further ado, we didn't have a lesson planned out. We're just going to be rolling through the Spirit, various topics. There's so much going on. There's plenty to talk about. So, but we're going to get right into it, see if we can't wake up some jakes in the process. So, we always have an opening scripture that we start out with. Do you have it? Yep. You have it? Oh, okay, bring it up. You got it.
Yeah, here it is in Deuteronomy chapter 20, verse 8. And the officers shall speak further to the people, and they shall say, what man is there that is fearful and faint-hearted? Let him go and return into his house, lest his brother's heart faint, as well as his heart. Yeah, and pretty much that breakdown, and what this verse is pretty much saying is that, like, hey, if you have a weak spirit, if you're not in it to win it, if you're gonna bring down the team, don't even join it. That's pretty much like when you go into war. If you have a defeated mindset already, you're gonna fucking flop on the field and count everything for loss. Because, like, what are the chances are you winning 100% if you fucking give 100%? Come on, man. Shit, Jake. Hey, wake up.
If you're scared before the the so-called shooting even starts, man, as soon as the shooting does start, you're going to drop your weapon and run, And that's why you have to be ready before that day comes. And that's why we're getting ready spiritually for the day of Jacob's trouble. Because there's really no way that you can prepare physically. You're not going to stock up on guns, ammo, water, whatever all day long. But if you're not built up spiritually, you're either going to die, you're not going to be divinely protected, because that's the only way that you're going to make it out alive, is if pretty much a supernatural force intervenes, because there's going to be so much death going on that really, man, there's going to be nowhere to run. Because, a gun is not going to save you when you got demons that are possessing the people around you to jump on you, man. You can shoot a person like, those videos online where you see somebody take a flocka or something like that, the cops tase them, tie them down, fucking all this type of shit, man, and they're still fighting, and it takes like 8 officers per one person, because all those demons and those spirits are heavy on them, and all these people really got demons on them. So, that's why I say is put on the full armor, because people partake in Christmas not understanding that's a pagan holiday. People will gladly celebrate Halloween knowing it's a wicked holiday, but still be in the so-called Christian church and believe in the Bible. But really they're just pagans. Your modern day Christian is your modern day pagan, because your Christian will say, oh, you can eat anything, you can worship anything, you don't got to know his name. You can believe in whatever you want, and as long as you believe on Jeebus, you're good. No, that's not how it works. You know, that's a fantasy land right there.
Yeah, and then what are we out here for? To wake up Jake, but also to let every single nation know that the digital passport, if you know what I mean, that goes into your right hand or to your forehead, as the scriptures say, is why we're coming out here as well, to warn the people.
That's right. Hey, so you know, the Most High only cares about His people. He doesn't care about the heathens. You know, going from Edom all the way down to you know, your Moabite. So, and we know that when Yahweh Shai was on the scene, you know, he had a woman from Canaan that came up to him, you know, and was asking for help. But he said, you know, I'm not sent but unto the lost sheep of Israel. So all these people that are saying, you know, oh, help me God, help me Jesus, help me Christ, you know, they're going to be confounded. Because, hey, man, you're going to say all the wrong things and you're actually going to manifest a demon right in front of you. And that's how scary this thing is, because it's real. And I'm going to get to that account that I had here to back up my point. Because that's all we do. It's simple. Go out on the highways and byways, speak, and back it up with scripture. Or bring out the scripture and put it in terms that your average person can understand it. You know, because I say, hey, what does woe mean? You know, to the world, and they say, oh, woe means you're having a great time. No, see, so that's just, you know, a small example that you got to simplify it. You know, because a lot of these people, man, they're really, you know, unlearned, and our power is a power of knowledge. You can't be ignorant and expect to know a higher being. You know, you're dealing with things beyond our comprehension, which is why you got to do everything out of the scriptures. That's why it takes this much to even scratch the surface so we can understand just enough to get saved, you know. But this is Matthew 15 and 22. It says, and behold, a woman of Canaan came out of the same coast and cried unto him, saying, have mercy on me, O Lord, thou son of David. My daughter is grievously vexed with the devil. Hey, and that's how you know that the so-called Israelites is a fleshly thing. You know, we judge the spirit by the spirit, but it all determines what your spirit goes back to that's dwelling in your flesh. You know, because you could be a black Edomite. You could be a rape baby from the fucking slave days, man. And that's why Jake hates his own people. You know, that's why they have no problem, you know, going into the ghettos or whatever like that, you know, and committing crimes on their own people. But let a so-called white man come up and talk big shit, you know, it'll be quieter than hell, man. They ain't gonna say nothing because they fear the so-called white man on this side, because rightly so, because he's in his power seat. You know, no one can say the white man, hey, get out of my country. He's gonna say, hey, guess what? I own this country. I ain't going nowhere. But how did he get that country? Through bloodshed. But I'm gonna stay on point. You know, going back to the Most High Yahweh Shai is for his people, and he was sent from the Most High Yahweh. You know, so this is to do his bidding here on earth. So this is Matthew 15 and 23, continuing. But he answered her not a word, so he was ignoring her. And his disciples came and besought him, saying, send her away, for she crieth after us. So even after Yahweh Shai ignored her ass, you know, the woman is loud, so she's still crying after him to help her, really, you know, because her daughter had a devil. So this was his response after even his disciples said, hey, man, you know, I'm gonna roughly paraphrase it. This hoe's annoying us like nobody's business, man. Get her out of here. And so this was his response. But he answered and said, I am not sent, but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So everybody thinks Jesus is for everybody. No, he's not. He's only for the Israelites. And that goes back to the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You so-called white people have no room for repentance. Thus saith the Bible. You know.
So their birthright. Their birthright's
right.
kingdom.
That's right. You sold your birthright, and you want it back now after you see the weight that it carries with it.
Oh, and that's what's built into the so-called white people, which are not white, they're red, and the devil's colored red for a reason, because they're Edomites, which meaning Edom. Edom meaning red all over, and when you commit a crime, that's why when you commit a crime, you call red-handed, and a bad act, evil doing.
And it even says in the scripture, it says, I will slay the man that's found with my chosen in their hand, roughly paraphrasing. So who has the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans in slavery right now? Right now, this day, so-called white man does. They say, oh, well, you ain't got chains on your shackles or anything like that. Well, guess what? They still run this world. You know, pursuing to Job 9:24, the world is given, or earth is given into the hand of the wicked. The wicked is so-called Edom, Esau. You know, the Edomites. And I got two more, and then I'm going to let the brother go on to prove how Edom is the red man. This is 25. Then came she and worshipped him, saying, Lord, help me. But he answered and said, it is not meet to take the children's bread and cast it to dogs. So if you look up that word, it's also bitch, too. So the Most High, Yahweh Shai, which the world ignorantly calls Jesus, not only denied her, but then after he denied her, he made fun of her. He says, why take the children's bread and cast it to dogs? And that's how you heathens are. You're dogs with two legs. And that's what the Native Americans knew you white people as, dogs with two legs, because you fucking stunk like shit. And then you ate abominable things, and then you carried diseases with you, like a fucking virus. Like that movie, The Matrix, where Mr. Smith had Morpheus tied up. He said, you know what you are? You human race, and really spiritual, because he's talking about the Edomite. You know, he said, you're a virus. And really, this so-called white man is a virus. Because what is a virus? Let's look at the characteristics. An invasive species, you know, so-called, into a body, whether it be small as hell or whatever, that does damage and then feeds off a host. You know, so this devil comes off, he damages things, and then he just feeds off the host until it's dead. You know, or that virus gets worse. You know? So that's a perfect description in that movie.
Yeah, and the so-called white people are the disease and death that the Bible describes.
Right. It says, woe unto the world and them that dwell therein, for the devil is cast out to you. Who's the devil? You know, it's definitely not a spiritual being. It is a spiritual being, the Lucifer, like the devil, and Lucifer just means light bearer, you know. But that devil has a physical counterpart here on earth. And that physical counterpart that the devil has on his side representing him is the so-called white man. Just like the righteous have and the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, which are the Israelites, are representations of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. That's where you get the word Zion, which goes back to the Hebrew word Tazayawan, which goes back to my monument. Because when you see a Negro, Latino, Native American, you're not supposed to see a nigga, a beaner, or a spick. You're supposed to see a royalty. You're supposed to see kings and priests. But because we fell to our low estate, this is what we got to deal with. We got to deal with the proud looks from the so-called, you know, heathens walking past us because we're not in power. And we're not.
Yeah. All they see is just two Mexicans, barely two Mexicans with the Bible in their hands.
Yeah.
They shun this. They despise this.
Yeah, and all we're coming out here is coming out with the Bible in our hands and talking against the world with a bunch of fucking effeminate men who don't know what bathroom to use. That's what this is fucking wrong with this society. Oh, I'm a boy, I'm a girl, I'm gonna cut my dick off. You know? Man, this place is confused. And if you're not speaking out against it, then fuck you. Like I said, if you're not putting on for your people and you're actually edifying them, you're trying to break the chains of mental slavery by doing your own research first and foremost, so that you can be edified enough to wake up another brother. Each one teach one. If you know better and another brother doesn't know better, but you can see him about to fall into a ditch, man, you're going to do everything you can to try to make sure that doesn't happen, especially if you care about them. And we care about our people, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. We don't care about you fucking white people. You fucking white people got more than enough, you know? But where's the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans? Man, we're stuck in the barrios, the ghettos, the reservations. Hey, and is the so-called white man ever paid for what he did to us in slavery? Hell no. But is he? Hell yes. And how? By being in slavery. It's the only right. Two wrongs do make a right. Just like two negatives make a positive. That's mathematical truth right there. Two negatives make a positive. And you devils got a lot of negatives coming your way. Because hey man, you're building up a case against yourself. You know, especially now with the snake venom. You know, they want to try to push a jab on everybody, and soon enough they're going to be pushing that Karaka on you. that chocolate chip cookie that's going to go in your right hand or your forehead, and they're not going to allow you to buy or sell pursuing to Revelations 13 and 16 without taking that mark, the M-O to the T to the B, which is the mark of the beast. And if it flags it for the algorithm or whatever, man, so be it. But hey, it is what it is. And I'm going to actually get a poster specifically for the MOTB, like the main topics I have on here, just so we can maybe refer to that more, like the prophets in Babylon camp, because those brothers are on point with their signs. So, you have some?
Yeah, like I said, the devil's covered red all over.
Oh, that's right.
And here it is in Genesis chapter 25, verse 25. And the first came out red.
The first came out red, and that's the elder. Go ahead.
All over like a hairy garment. That's right, because so-called whites are hairy. You see Jake, he's nice and smooth. And they called his name Esau. And that's the so-called progenitor. That is the progenitor of the so-called white people. The head of the so-called white people.
Have you ever seen a white baby be born? That motherfucker's red as hell, you know? And I've seen babies, you know, when they have like hair all over their face and stuff like that. I know it's pretty much in everything because it's like a womb thing, but hey, man, it's definitely a point in time after that baby is into the world. Hey, brother, can I ask your nationality? Can I ask your nationality? Mm-hmm. What's your ethnicity on your father's side?
Are you reading the Bible?
Yeah.
What is the next country next to Israel?
Palestine?
No, next to Israel, mostly to Christian country.
Oh, yeah, but we're not Christians.
Are you what?
No, we're Hebrew Israelites.
Hebrew.
So
are you Jewish?
No, we're not Jewish. You're
my parents are Jewish.
Oh,
my mom.
It only matters on your father's side. Because that's where
my father is like Protestant Christian.
Oh, okay.
Oh no, Orthodox. We are Orthodox. My parents believe on Old Testament. They don't believe New.
Oh, so you believe in the Torah, okay, correct? Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I'm gonna do whatever. But
yeah, I'll do something out right now just to clarify. Yeah. What the hell is that? So what's your point? That's the great thing being out here and being a Hebrew Israelite. You can be raw, you don't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
All you got to do is go with the flow with the spirit.
Yeah. Did me, but wasn't able to like fully tell me. But anyways, it is what it is.
Yeah.
No, we keep it pushing.
Yeah, because this is it. Here it is. You'll find this in St. John, chapter 4, verse 21. Yahushua said unto her, Woman, believe me, the hour cometh when ye shall neither in this mountain nor yet at Jerusalem worship the Father. Because this is what Yahushua was bringing the point to, driving it home. Here it is in verse 22. Ye worship, ye know not what or who. You know exactly. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews.
Right.
And the Jews are the so-called, or is Judah, the tribe of Judah, which is the so-called blacks, the so-called African Americans, the dark-skinned race, which is the head brother.
That's right, because the salvation is of the Jews, which goes back to the tribe of Judah, where Yahushua came from. But also, when you see that Jews, it's also talking about, the southern kingdom. You have to understand the context to understand that this one is talking about salvation is of the Jews because Yahushua came from the tribe of Judah, which would be what you would call a so-called Jew, because that's where the word Jew comes from. It doesn't come from, the small hat, big nose rats that are living in Israel right now.
Yeah, it's exactly right. The salvation comes from one brother to save his household. That household contains your brothers as well.
That's right.
And here it is in verse 23. But the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshipers of Yahweh shall worship the Father, Yahweh, in spirit and in truth. For the Father seeketh such to him. such to him to worship him. Sorry, Salakia. I'm going to repeat that. But for the hour cometh and is, and when the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth, for the Father seeketh such to worship him. And that is the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. The true worshipers are the 144 elect men and the 1/3 of Israel. Because in verse 24, it says, God, power is a spirit, the Holy Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. And, and what happens once you're living in truth? You're set free. And once you're in the spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh is able and approved by Yahushua to flow through the brothers. That's why you see the brothers out in the highways and byways admitting to the marriage. And that's what I love to bring out, because this is when somebody's getting married, it's a joyful time. It's a good time when there's two families coming together, and this is the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans that are out here in the walkways, where you can get this truth for free to the most expensive place to be at, the chariot ride.
That's right. Hey man, because we're all working for that penny. So, is that all you had on that? Yeah. I got something that flows into you. Shalom, 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 shalom. So this is St. John. I'm gonna start 17 and I'm gonna start at 9. Because it's kind of the point, that the Most High is dealing with starting with Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, is dealing with His people only. Because Yahweh sends His will to Yahushai, not sends what we know, sends orders, and Yahushai sends His orders down to the angels. So that everything is done decently and in order. But this is continuing St. John 17 and 9. It says, I pray for them. I pray not for the world, but for them which thou hast given me, for they are thine. So we're not here trying to get everybody saved, man. Because not everybody's going to get saved. Having a one world unison, that's actually satanic, because the Bible never teaches one world unity. I don't know where Christians get this, but it teaches division, us and them. The holy, which meaning separate, and the wicked, which is anything found outside the temple, is profane, which is abominable. But continuing, this is 10, and all mine are thine, and thine are mine, and I am glorified in them. And that person being glorified is Yahushua in us, because we're rehearsing the righteous acts, by going out on the highways and byways, by presenting ourselves as a living sacrifice, by lifting up our voice and speaking up against, the rainbow gang. You can't even say gay or fucking homo anymore, because we live in a society with a bunch of pussies that don't know which bathroom to use, man. And that's why this country is going to have to implement the draft, because this is not a so-called war-mongering country anymore. That patriot, I'm gonna fight for America spirit is way the hell out, man.
Yeah, you got men wearing tight pants here.
Yeah, fuck you. Man, I be going to a gym, man, and I understand the pursuing to first Maccabees, what gyms are, especially today, but you see men in the gyms wearing shorter shorts than half the women in them, and doing fucking like squats and stuff, man. It's like, it's a very effeminate society, and it's hard to move without getting vexed in the society, which is damn near impossible.
Yeah.
Which I'll retract that. It's impossible to move in this society without getting vexed, because you live in a wicked society.
Right. If you turn left, you turn right, you will go to sleep. You wake up, you're vexed.
Turn on the TV and watch a 30 second commercial. You got two dudes kissing, man. This fucking place is disgusting. This is verse 11, St. John 17 and 11. And now I am no more in the world, but these are in the world. And that no longer in the world is because Yahushua went into heaven. He went before the throne to sit on the right-hand side of Yahweh. It says, but these are in the world, and these are the prophets. starting with the elders and apostles at Great Millstone that taught us this truth, and trickling down to the men that you see out here in Boise, Idaho, that learn from the elders. And this is I gotta show you this. Look at that shit. Look at that. I don't know. It's like one of those 20s bikes. This funny. Slovakia. The only thing he was missing was a top hat. Anyways, continuing. This is I'm gonna start over. In verse 11. And now I am no more in the world, but these are in the world, and I come to thee, Holy Father, keep through thine own name those whom thou hast given me, that they may be one as we are. Dang, that's heavy right there. So Yahushua is asking the Father that the elect, because he's not talking about all of Israel, that the elect be as one as him. And that's what we're doing. Lord willing, we make up one or two of those 2 in 12,000 places, that are from the tribe of Issachar.
Right.
Issachar being the so-called Mexicans, but biblically the name is Issachar. And this is verse 12, and this is a heavy scripture too. This is, while I was with them in the world, I kept them in thy name. Because Yahushua was preaching in the name of Yahweh. Yahushua wasn't teaching in the name of God, in the Most High, in the Lord. No, he was using his name because they were speaking the Lashawan Kodash, which is the holy tongue, during that time. Continuing, this is, I have kept, continuing, I kept them in thy name. Those that thou gavest me, I have kept, and none of them is lost, but the son of perdition, that the scriptures might be fulfilled. Woo! So Esau Edom right here is being called out as the son of perdition, being the only one who's lost. Because of all the 18 nations, Esau Edom is the one that is not going to get repentance. And Esau Edom is the only one promised to be completely destroyed after that 1,000-year slavery in the kingdom of heaven. So, hey, man, that someone had to fulfill the part of the wicked. So the so-called white man filled that part and is fulfilling that part perfectly. I have to say, probably the best, So, hey, what that leads to is them getting completely cut off from that birthright, which is, salvation. Salvation is of the Jews, just like we read. So after that 1,000 years of slavery in the kingdom of heaven, under the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, that lake of fire that's going to be completely destroying people, because there's no such thing as hell. Hell is a Greek/Catholic doctrine that came in. Have you ever heard of Hades? They try to slip it in there as being the god of the underworld, but that's another topic.
Folks
tales. But that was created by Jake because they already went away from their power, so they had to make up, bullshit, and that's what it is.
And who's
bullshit.
Who's the best storytellers in the world? Jake. Come on, man. Right. Jake is the former of all things.
Former of all things.
Of all things, man. That's down to what you write, what you see, what you know as. Everything comes from Jake, and what you wear is from Jake, bro.
That's right. And we're on this side today. Usually we're on the other side because the wind is like down that corridor blowing our sides. So, hey, what is this? We're overdapping and overcoming. So, that's the point I wanted to make. Yeah, it's supposed to be starting to rain here a little bit. Looks like it, but show must go on. Did you have something to go home?
Yeah, I got something.
Yeah, you know.
Here it is in Revelation chapter 13, verse 9. If any man have an ear, let him hear for what the scriptures say. Verse 10. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and faith of the saints.
That's right. So it just said, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. And who did the biggest, so-called captivity? The so-called white man to the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. That's basic history. You learned that in middle school.
Oh, yeah, I mean, which prison house? What does the staff look like? Hey, they're honking and donking over there. They're so-called white people. The Edomites, that are ruling over Jake that are in those prison houses. As a bird, bro. That's why they're fucking brokenhearted.
They get off on that shit, man. Those Edomites that are in those CO, those correction officers,
Yeah.
you know, they get off on that power trip, man. You know, hey, and I'm speaking from experience too. So don't think I'm like, oh, you see, watch too many TV shows. No, man. You know, we all have a past. So hey, man, they're fucking devils in there, man. Dumbasses. Jake lost, man. Jake lost. Too busy shooting a music video, not knowing, hey, that if you make it, you're gonna have to sell your soul and do some gay shit. They're making it just to do some gay shit.
And it's all for vanity too. It's all for none.
Ain't nobody take you seriously with that many tattoos, man. Those two guys are probably like their late 30s, or early 30s, late 20s, with a belly, you know, worried about money, hoes, and clothes, man. They're fucking Jake, man. Talking about the next day, yeah. Talking about some crusty ass bitch they smashed last week, man.
Hey, the hype of Babylon, all that spirit, all that birth is gone, bro. They got the events in 2020 were supposed to just take out the spirit out of the so-called Americans. You know what I mean? Just like the elites were literally pulling the plug on this bitch, and they're like, yeah, man, we got these people to their knees. They're fucking, they're yanking left when I want them to.
Here, I got one. Oh, man, I thought it was in this. This is Isaiah 14:4. That thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. And that golden city is right here in America. Because you know the saying, what does it say? It's like a saying back in like the 20s. It's saying, right, it wasn't the, I can't remember. It was like having to do with how America in the past was thought that they literally had golden streets over here. They thought this was the kingdom of heaven. They thought this making it to America was making it, man. Making it to America has probably been the worst captivity that the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans had. You know, under this white devil, you know, so-called white man, the Anglo-Saxon, Caucasian, you know, whatever you want to call it, man. Whatever he's trying to hide himself as, other than Esau Edom. But yeah, that golden city, because this place is abundant in treasures. You know, that's Jeremiah 51. I forgot my phone, but I remember my iPad. I forgot the little phone, but remember the big old bulky. You know, so at least I can still look at scriptures if I had the word search it. But I want to read this out. This is Jeremiah 51. Yeah, this is Jeremiah 51:7. Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hands, and made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken her wine, therefore the nations are mad. And you know that this isn't talking about ancient Babylon, because ancient Babylon went away. But America, you can go to China and you can see skyscrapers. You can see little Asian men in suits and ties. You can go any country, you'll see suit and ties. Who brought that about? You know, it goes back, if you really want to go back to the tie, it goes back to an Egyptian custom, which pretty much is like having a dick on your fucking throat, which is what it's symbolic to. And then also the suit, you know. Man, don't even get me started, but they tried changing everything, because have you ever heard of the zoot suits, which were the Mexicans in the 20s, while all they were so-called illegals, so they weren't getting drafted. But in the 20s, and I think it's like 1917 was when World War I started, and then it all the way went into the 20s. But so the American soldiers were getting drafted and going over there, but then they found out that the Mexicans were all popping their women when they were gone. And so they found out, you know, there was like a zoot suits, and there was riots, you know, right in like the Navy Pier in San Francisco. You know, as soon as the sailors went off the ships, you know, they would see Jake in zoo suits, or they'd see Jake, Negro, Latino, Native American in the military uniform, and they'd go beat the shit out of him. You know, they say, bring all types of charges. They say, oh, you're impersonating an army officer, you're impersonating a soldier, and all these things like that. And there's pictures, and it went all the way up to the 50s. So, man, and that's what it is, because this devil will allow you to go fight and die in his army, but you better not wear that uniform, boy. Hey, man, and they got that same spirit today, you know?
Yeah, property, boy.
That's right, man. Like those two guys, you know, just laughing, you know, talking, thinking that we're making this up. He's like, yeah, we did do that. Fucking Beavis and Butthead laugh, bro. Fucking dumbasses. Whatever, they're heathens. They're gonna get theirs.
Yeah, yeah, here it is in Psalm. I'll bring it out in Psalm 34, 14, verse 14. Depart from evil and do good. Seek peace and pursue it. And that's right. When it says to do good, that means prophesy. Do good to Israel. You know, feed the flock. Seek peace. You know, the only peace you can find is through the scriptures. And here it is in verse 15. And the eyes of the Lord Yahweh, it's all capitals, the eyes of the Lord are upon the righteous, and his ears are open to their cry. And who are the righteous? So-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans that call themselves the hopeful elect in GMS and other camps that are, you know,
Teaching the correct doctrine.
Correct doctrine, yeah, exactly right. Thank you. And here it is in verse 16. The face of the Lord is against them that do evil, and against them do evil, to cut off the remaining remembrance of them of the earth, and that cut off the evil, to cut off the remembrance of them from earth. That comes from the very end of it too, of Esau being cut off as well, and the 2/3, which is 66.6 of Israel.
66.6, you know, and that's spiritual number too.
Yeah, exactly right. Here it is in verse 17. The righteous cry. The elected men down here on the highways and byways. The righteous cry, and the Lord heareth, and deliver them out of all their troubles. Huh. You know how much trouble Jake has in Esau's kingdom? Man, he goes down to his brother, goes down to his mother, goes down to his rib, goes down to his kids. Hey, Jake catches hell here. And Yahweh Shai says, the righteous cry, and the Lord Yahweh heareth, and delivereth them out of all their troubles. Right. And here it is in verse 18. This is what I wanted to get to. And the Lord Yahweh is near upon them that are brokenhearted, and save such that be of a contrite spirit. And that word contrite is regretful, full of regret, sorry. You know, and the Jakes that are out here, the righteous men, they're sorry for their sins that they committed and what they know of and what they don't know of.
That's right. That's why, you know, when you first come into this truth, man, and you realize what you were doing in the world, you know, you're just like, damn, man, damn, I should have done this, I should have done that. Hey, but, you know, it's one thing, you know, to have already done it, but it's another thing to keep repeating it. So once you realize your offense, you know, and you come into the truth, you know, you're a new creature. It says, let not your sins weigh you down, you know. It's like, you know, it says, cursed be them, you know, that are laden with sins, you know, like a vine, like the vines that overthrow a path, you know, roughly paraphrased. So, hey, that's why it's not about perfection. It's about persistence. You know, you gotta really want to keep, you know, getting better in this thing, because no one's gonna be perfect. You know, we're not saying, hey, be perfect, because who was perfect? Is Yahweh Shai. So we're never going to be on that level, but we can try, you know. And Lord willing, when we do get those new bodies, you know, then we'll all be changed in the twinkling of an eye, and then we'll never go off again, because pursuing to the new covenant, you know, all this Bible, every single word and more, you know, is going to be inside of us. That we'll never go off again. That we're going to have unlimited knowledge. But this is only promised to the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. If you're so-called white, you know, on your father's side, man, you're fucked. You might as well live it up, get some strippers and cocaine, because this is the best it's going to get for you. You know, this is the best it's going to get for you, man. Max out your credit cards, you know, all that. Do all of it. Because, hey, man, America doesn't have that much time left. You know, America's about to get invaded, persuaded, and what do you call it? Abused, really. Ran through, fucking choo-choo style, man. This place is about to get bent over and fucking destroyed, really. You know. But hey, man, we wanted to have it because, you know, Jacob's trouble is not for the world, or Salakia. Jacob's trouble is not for the elect. Jacob's trouble is for the world. You know, the two-thirds, you know, which are slated to die. You know, and if you're a heathen, if you make it through that judgment day, it's only to get rounded up in slavery. You know, they gave a pretty good depiction of that in Planet of the Apes. You know, in the older ones. You know, when they had laws about not letting the so-called white man, you know, populate in large numbers. You know, man, these hoes are wearing fucking nothing but bras and leggings, and they're like living. I'm over here in my shirt, and I'm like cold as hell. I don't know. These thoughts got no pain receptors or something like that. I'm gonna throw a hoodie on Salah if you want.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Yeah, because here it is. I'll bring it out. For you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, this the Holy Bible, which is for you, holy means separate, set apart. Bible meaning a collection of books, of biblios, but brothers know it as well as basic instructions before leaving Earth as well. Hey, have fun with it and know your stuff. Here it is in Isaiah chapter 1, verse 3. The ox knows his owner, and the ass his master's crib. But Israel, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, do it not know. My people do it not consider. And what do they not know, and what do they not consider? And how about Shem Yahushai, their father, their creator? But here it is in verse 4. Sinful nation, and that sinful nation, and that sinful only can be considered as a people because the law, the Torah, Moses given to the people, wasn't given to the world. It was only given to the people that were delivered out of Egypt. And who was delivered out of Egypt? The Hebrews.
And I was thinking of the Shema prayer when you said that, because that's who we're out after, you know, the elect and only the elect of Israel. Yep. And that's, you know, Deuteronomy 6:4 is where the Shema prayer is. And that's Shema, Yashra Allah, Yahweh, Allah Hayatawa, Yahweh Echad. So that is Deuteronomy 6:4. It says, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord." So this is, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our power is one Lord." You know, because there is only one, you know, God. It's Yahweh. But we are to worship Yahweh Shai as Yahweh. You know, not like as the same position, but he said, you know, there's one mediator. You know, worship him.
And ye sinful nation, a people aligned with iniquity, laden with iniquity.
A bunch of stuff on.
A seed of evildoers, children that are corrupters. That's Jake. Hey, Jake doesn't know how to do righteous, but to do evil. They have forsaken the Lord Yahweh. They have provoked the Holy One of Israel.
Right, not the world, of Israel. Not the so-called white man's God. That you guys got Jesus. You guys got Christianity, plantation, slavery, Jesus. And we got Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Go ahead.
They have provoked the Holy One of Israel unto anger. They are gone away backward.
That's right.
Are gone away backward. What happens? What happens? What does that even mean? It means that they're being sinful, they're doing wrong, but they're not going into the Lord's path, the Lord's way. Hey, who is the light? Who is the way? Who is the light? Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. But what does Israel do? They forsake the Lord.
Right. Hey, and we forsook him for so long, that we forgot that we even are those people of the Bible. We forsook the Lord so much that you got your ass in slavery. Seven different captivities, and 7 goes into completion. So we've been through a complete round of fucking slaveries. Like how when your dad's spanking your ass, he's like, "Do you get the point now? Do I got to get you one more or something like that? So you don't forget. Do I got to get you one more so you don't forget? And that's how it was. And I bet you if you got 3 more above, he said, I'm only gonna smack you 3 times, and you got 6 times. Guarantee you're not gonna do it again. So
that's crazy because when you say the seven captivities, 7 meaning completion, but also Israel, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans out here only know themselves the beginning of slavery. Like, all I know that I came from nothing, and I have nothing. I'm never gonna be shit. That's the.
Because what does the white man say?
Of Jake.
The white man says, where does your history start? With slavery.
Huh. So remember that, boy.
Right.
But through scriptures, you know who you are. The kingdom is within you.
That's why we're, pursuing to Ezekiel 37, that valley of dry bones getting life. That's getting the breath breathed in them, because all the valley started to get bones and tendons and muscles, but not all of them had life. And that breath of life is, the scriptures, but it's Yahushai, because we were dead as a nation, pretty much under the first covenant, because we all committed sins worthy of death, even right now. So we had to have a mediator, which is Yahushai, to be able to, get us in there again, really. And that had to go through a certain process of him sacrificing himself. Getting the shit beat out of him, getting stabbed, getting kicked around, getting his beard, patches of his beard pulled out. They were doing all types of things.
I know, right?
But, yeah. You got something?
Yeah, because how do we know this? How do we know that Jake is not, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are not just some dishwasher, just some wet bag, just some product of Esau to break your fucking back? Are you kidding me? But here it is, the new song. Here it is in Revelation chapter 5, verse 9. And they sung a new song, saying, Thou art worthy to take the book. And what book is that? The book of life. To open the seals thereof, for thou hast slain and hast redeemed us, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, to power, to God, by what? By thy blood, out of every kindred, every tongue, every people, and nation. Because if your father's seed line goes back to the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you are what it describes in this scripture. In verse 10.
Because Israel's in all the 4 corners of the world. We're everywhere.
Exactly. Hey, when people say, hey, I never knew my dad, most than likely they're Jake. Somewhat. Because they're under the curses right now. And here it is in verse 10. And has made us unto our power God, and has made us God, kings and priests, and we shall reign on the earth.
That's right. And that's a future prophecy, because, hey, man, we've got no power right now. But when the kingdom comes, when Yahushua cracks those clouds and he gets the glory, he's going to glorify the men that were putting on for him when he wasn't here. Because, like it says, blessed be them which do not see me and believe, roughly paraphrasing, when Thomas needed to see Yahushua to believe him. And that's the majority of our people. The majority needs to see something to believe it. That's why they call the Great Millstone faith-based Israelites, which is not really an insult. So I don't know why they think that is like a derogatory thing to have in your name. But I got something. But this is brother quoted the beginning part of this through the Spirit, but the latter part of the verse is the point I wanted to get. This is Jeremiah 10 and 16. It says, the portion of Jacob is not like them, and them is the heathen, anyone found outside of Israel.
Outside of the temple.
That's right. It's profane. For he is the former of all things, like the brother quoted before, If there's nothing that's anything without us inventing it. So this is, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance. The Lord of hosts is his name. And Israel is the rod of his inheritance, going into the people as a whole. Because that's who is going to inherit the kingdom of heaven. Because that is the promise. You will be in the kingdom of heaven, in peace, not dwelling. You will be dwelling in safely, because right now we're not dwelling in safety, Salakia. But, and also that we're going to have these law, statutes, and commandments written on our inward parts, in the heart, in the tablet of our mind. Because your heart is just a vessel that pumps blood. Your heart and your mind is what allows you to think. But this is Jeremiah 10 and 25. It says, pour out the fury upon the heathen that know thee not, and upon the families that call not on thy name. So that's going to the heathen and also the other Jakes that aren't using the names of Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. And Yahweh, we always go into that, is powerful because you have to use the correct names as well as Yahweh Shai. Because you can say, oh yeah, we're out here for God. If somebody tells me, hey, God bless, I'm going to ask him what God he's talking about. Hey, don't you bless me in Jesus' name? Fuck no, you can take that curse. That's a curse to me. But this is continuing. For they have eaten up Jacob, and Jacob is the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And who is doing the eating? The so-called white man in his society. In his Babylonian society. That's right. And that's why this devil's America is about to be destroyed. Ultimately by thermonuclear fire. But this is continuing. It says, devoured him and consumed him and have made his habitation desolate. Because ultimately, we've been robbed and spoiled as a people fully. We don't have nothing left over. Because back in the day, if somebody was having a vineyard, they would take all the grapes, but they would leave a little bit. They would leave a 10% for the beggars, because they would take the vine dressers. They would always leave some behind, to help the unfortunate or the needy. That was your food bank in the ancient world. But when this devil came in power, he took and raped and robbed and pillaged everything. And he said, oh, and if you talk about it now, that's hate speech. If you bring up the past, that's opening up old wounds. Like we had this devil tell us 2 days ago when we did a Highways and Byways lesson. But yeah, man. And that's why, this devil is really not going to pay for it justly until Yahweh Shai cracks those clouds, because we don't want your FRNs. We don't want your fake ass money. We want you in slavery. We want the so-called white man in slavery. But guess what? We're not going to be able to do it carnally, but spiritually, what does it say? Our weapons are not carnal, but mighty of the pulling down of strongholds. And that stronghold symbolic is to this, Go ahead. I didn't want to leave this.
Oh, no, that's cool. I was adding on to the one before. Easy stuff go like this? No. Okay.
Get trash blowing up on it.
Yeah, I mean, just like we were reading before, and like brother was saying, that we're going to be rulers on the earth, as the scriptures say, because we have patience and we have the faith that it will happen. That, that the tables will turn. In fact, soon.
This is Daniel 17 and 18. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. And so we're not going to ask for America back. We're not going to say, hey, can you please trade for it? No, we're just going to fucking take it from you devils. And after, but it's going to get destroyed. So we don't even want it. So after we take it over, we're just going to fucking destroy it. You know, but we're not going to Yahweh Shai by way of those ICB and nuclear missiles. Because we're not going to, you know, the white man, you know, his spirit is, if I can't have it, ain't nobody going to have it. You know, he's pushed the button on all the nukes and destroy the whole world if he could. But the angels would stop him. You know, they wouldn't allow him to destroy the world completely. Just his world. Don't worry. Only America is getting completely destroyed. The rest of the world will be in there. We have a place to inhabit. You know, once the chariots come down and leave us, you know, a new kingdom and a new earth. You know, because we're gonna come down from the chariots and we're gonna stay here on earth. You know, this is gonna be the new kingdom of heaven. You know, what my cousin always says. He says, a white man's heaven is a black man's hell, and a black man's heaven is a white man's hell. So we gonna have our way with you, devil, man. And it's gonna be fun. We're gonna kick your ass every single day except the Sabbath. So hey, man, and ass kicking is an understatement compared to what we're gonna be able to do to you. But,
yeah, and here it is, just like we read in Revelation chapter 5, verse 10, we shall be kings and priests, and we shall reign upon the earth, right? As the scriptures say, roughly paraphrasing. Here it is in Psalms chapter 2, verse 8. Ask me, this is Yahweh Shem Yahushai speaking to the nation of Israel. Psalms chapter 2, verse 8. Ask me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. And what do we know about earth? It's a beautiful place. Hey, chase waterfalls. It's a beautiful sight when that waterfall's going down. Those things are going to go for real.
I was gonna say, don't go chase a waterfall. You just spoke TLC.
Yeah, I did. I mean, like, think about it. The uttermost parts of the earth, have water.
I'm gonna have my Asians making noodles. I'm gonna have my so-called white women making sandwiches. Fucking Indian women making curry. You know, whatever you want, man. That's the kingdom of heaven.
Yeah.
You know, and if that's too beyond your grasp of imagination, I don't want to rule over anybody. I don't want any slaves, man. Hey, guess what? You can send your slaves on this way. I'll take them. You know, there's going to be continual employment, like it says in the scriptures, you know, for you heathens. And your first job is going to be picking up all these dead bodies. And after you pick up all these dead bodies, you're going to pick up all the trash that you made. Every single styrofoam cup, every Coke can. I don't care if it's at the bottom of the Mariana Trench or blown over on Mount Everest. You're going to get your ass up there or down there, and you're going to get it.
Yeah, because here it is in verse 9. Thou shalt break them. What? In heaven? They're going to be breaking people? Hell yeah. How? Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron. Thou shalt dash them into pieces like a potter's vessel. And what happens when you break glass? That shit fucking shatters. What happens when you break these heathens? These people are going to fucking shatter. Who are they going to call upon? Yasharallah. The only person that can serve them, because Yahweh Shai, hey, Yahweh Shai don't want to fucking deal with them. That's why he sent his people, his prophets, his seers, 12,000 out of 12 nations of Israel to go prophesy his word. That's right, because what? What happens now? Verse 10. Be wise now, therefore, ye, O kings. He's not talking about, ye so-called Mexicans, so-called niggas, so-called African Americans, so-called Native Americans. No. Be wise. It's not being, hey, don't go stupid, don't go dumb. That world is fucking done here. You peel off that OJ, hey, we're not saying don't have fun, but hey, there's a time and place.
Right. And that also goes into you carnalites, man. thinking that you're gonna take this devil over by your own means. You know what? Okay, let's say you do that. Let's say you do fight and take this devil over. Hey man, you're taking yourself right out of prophecy, man, because it says the meek shall inherit the earth. You know, and what you think you're actually gonna inherit something good? You know, this devil has already used and abused and destroyed this whole land. You think he's going to give you something back worth getting? No, they took all the gold, the natural resources. They cut the forest down. They slaughtered the Native Americans. They brought their diseases, their pigs, their animals, their invasive species. You know, they brought all things into this society. And what has it done? You know, it created Babylon the Great. Congratulations, you fucking devils. You did exactly what you would have done if you had another chance. You know, this devil, you could say, oh, if I only had another chance. Yeah, this devil got another chance. He would do the same thing, but worse. You know, he'd bring the MOTB back in the 1800s. You know, I'm just joking, man. I'm just saying, he'd say he'd want to kill you even sooner than he killed you last time. But we all understand that it's nothing of this own devil's doing. It's of the how to say, the allowance. The Most High Yahweh allows you to do it.
Yeah, that's why I say approved by Yahweh Shemai. It's ordained. But yeah, here it is. Be in Psalms chapter 2, verse 10, as the scriptures say, be wise now therefore, O kings, be instructed, ye judges of the earth. And that's right. How do you it's okay, but
yeah, when you don't take care of your bodies and you see somebody you knew from high school, bro, looking like a fucking bowling ball blob, they couldn't even recognize you, man. But hey, they didn't recognize me either. You know, and they're all looking out here, you know, they don't even recognize me, you know, in the spirit, you know, because they wouldn't imagine me being the type of person that would do this, you know, because hey, everyone had like, you know, I wasn't no weirdo in high school. I was very social. I was three sport athlete. You know, I knew a lot of people. So me coming out here doing this and then also blowing it up on my social media, man, I got a lot of flack. I got a lot of hate, and I got a lot of, you know, ghosting, you know, from so-called friends of the world, you know. But that just goes to show you that you're going to lose everything when you switch over to this truth.
Yeah, and exactly. To be a judge, what do you have to do? You have to judge. You have to know good and evil.
Right. That's why all the best judges are the ones that were born in the ghettos. You know, they've gone through the street life and understand what Jake is going through in the system.
Yeah, if you never experienced the fucking bad, how do you even know how to judge good?
Right.
Shit. And here it is.
That's what it is. It's the elders say that all the time. How are you gonna appreciate the good if you never understood the wicked? You know, we had to go to the most wicked point of society where we're at right now with a rainbow gang, you know, which got Sodom and Gomorrah destroyed, for us to understand why not to do that. We had to go through, like I said, 7 captivities for us to really understand that.
No, you're fine. And here it is in verse 11. Serve the Lord with fear. Serve the Lord, serve Yahweh with fear, and rejoice with trembling. That's right, because we come out with fear, but we rejoice with trembling out here, prophesying this downfall of America, the so-called Babylon the Great, or Babylon the Great, which we're standing on here is so-called America. And America is bitter. Bitter to who? The so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans who live and were put in the ghettos, that were redlined in the barrios, and who were gave the shittiest land, which have to be publicly known as reservations, where you can't grow fucking anything on there.
And Flint, Michigan still doesn't have clean water. You know, they can get oil across the country, but they can't get clean water to their own country. They got $33 billion extra dollars for fucking Ukraine, but they can't even help their own people here in America. They're gonna take billions and billions of dollars and go help out some other white people, you know, and not even help out their own white people here in America. You know, that goes to show you that this country's priorities is not in for its people, but we've known that. So if you literally thought in 2022 that the government was set up to help you, now you might as well just continue taking the red pill and, you know, get the fuck out the matrix. Because, hey, people are stuck in a fucking hamster loop. Hey, I'm going to take a jab. Oh, but you got to wear a mask. Oh, but you got to take another one. Oh, you got to fucking put your thumb up your ass. spin around in 3 circles, jump up high, you know. Oh, well, that's all we have to do. Okay, you know, that's why these people in America, especially. And if you've ever traveled to a foreign country, you know, all these other foreign countries talk shit about how stupid you fucking Americans are about everything. You can't even feed yourselves properly, and you allow diseases, chemicals in your food that create diseases. In these countries, you know, in 80% of countries, your food is illegal, Americans. You can't put blue dye number 40 and tetra fucking whatever in your food. But man, and that's why America has kids that with autism, you know, all types of mental disorders, because the food that they give you and tell you it's food is just shit painted with a color and put some artificial flavoring in it. Yeah, man. But hey, that's how you know you're in captivity, because no matter how good you eat, you're always gonna eat something polluted. This devil finds a way to put pig and swine in everything. You know, and that's why you can't be too over righteous on, you know, your food. Why you're not gonna blatantly eat a piece of bacon, but you know, if you go to a restaurant, you order a well done steak, which is lawful. How do you know that an unlawful meat was cooked right next to it? You know, or before, or after, or fucking the same time. Juice is fucking going in, man. Yeah, I don't even want to go out after fucking, you know, thinking about it too hard. And I don't, man. I rather go to the grocery store, cook my own food, you know. Which is another thing, Jake. You got to cook for yourself, man. Don't just keep going and eating out and eating out and eating out. You know, learn to cook. Man. But you know, there's always a good scripture to bring on Obadiah. This is Obadiah 1 and 15. For the Lord is near upon Salakia. For the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. And that ultimate reward is slavery. You know, chattel slavery. You know, and the worst type too. You know, we always say that we think Jake's captivity was hard. Hey man, I don't know how you white people are gonna get through being in chains and whipped and taking your kids taken from you or killed right in front of you. You know, all types of crazy things are gonna happen to you. You're gonna be bugging out when the so-called Jake is doing that.
Man, you so-called white people are fucking bitchy just for being lazy too. So yeah, like brother says, I don't know how the hell you're gonna be in the kingdom.
I know so,
but I know one thing: you will not disobey Yasharala.
Not even a little kid. You know how a little
not
kid.
The way we were, not the way we could. We're like, master.
You know how a little kid gets a cat? It's like a 3-year-old, and the cat is like getting like squeezed by his neck. You know, that's how our kid is gonna be playing with so-called white man. We'll be like, hey, put him down. You know, you gotta be nicer, even though we're not gonna say that. But hey, that kid's gonna be like, I was like, oh, you killed another one. Oh, you gotta be able to be a little nicer. You know, that's the type of things that's gonna happen, man. You know, these devils are gonna be given as gifts. You know, to our kids, to our friends, our family. You know, just like we were gifts. You know, we were the Christmas presents back in the day. But yeah, this place is wicked, man. Wicked.
Yeah, and I'll continue in Psalms chapter 2, verse 12. Kiss the Son, and that's what we're out here doing, kissing Yahweh on the side. And that's in our family, and how I give my brother, I give him a pound, and give him a hug, and I give him a kiss. And here it is, verse 12. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry, and ye be punished.
Hey man, what's your nationality? You're from Nepal? Oh, okay, man. I bet you get it a lot. Hey man, you live Mexican. Yeah, you all the time. Hey man, let's go. Have a good one. I know, right? I was like, he could be Jake, man. He could be, you know.
Yeah. He be punished from the way, and when his wrath is kindled but a little, blessed are all that put their trust in him.
This is the father. We'll wait. We gotta wait for these fucking dumbasses. And it's not going off like crazy. So really, they're not doing really anything wrong. But hey, it's still disturbing. You can go and have a drink, with the hockey. You can do this, you can do that, but again, if you're drunk, you're just basically like stumbling. That's going on.
Yeah, I'll just read that verse again just to bring out publicly. Who were kissing and who, when you kiss somebody, it's an intimate thing. You don't let anybody kiss you. Hell no, bro. You kidding me? Here it is in verse 12. Psalms chapter 2, verse 12. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry, and ye perish from the way when his wrath is kindled but a little. And then when you perish from the way, meaning don't be a 2/3. Blessed are all that put their trust in him. That is the elect men of Israel, 12,000 out of 12 tribes of Israel, and 144. The 1/3 as well.
What are you dressed up as?
I'm not really sure.
Only we grew up from, and we went to our senior common focus, so we're doing it.
Okay, that's why. I thought they were dressed up as Bible characters. That's what I was gonna ask you because they were like, I don't know if you can see them, but I thought they were gonna see something. So they're like, well, I'm Moses. I was gonna say, hey, well, Moses was so cool. That was good.
Yeah, I thought I was going to say I'm a Roman. I'm like, you're correct. Fucking Roman was an idea. Remember that? It was a lifestyle. It was a way. The devilish way. Right? Yeah, Rome was a way to fucking to put a self-destruction clock on the Hebrew Israelites.
It actually goes into that in the movie Gladiator when Marcus Aurelius, which was Jake, was talking to I forgot his name. Whatever the main guy, the main gladiator guy. Because he was explaining, he said Rome was an idea, and then he went into about how the average man was and how he wasn't going to give it to his wicked ass son. But we're going to get ready to close it down here pretty soon, Akim. Walk, whoever's tuned in. So we're going to get our closers and, on to the next day. It's been a good camp. But I'm going to get my closer. I like this one. This is Psalms 49 and 11. It reads, their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. And so, hey, that's what this devil really thinks, that his good old America is always going to be good old America when it's not. Man, this place has a what is it called? A ticking time bomb. We don't got much time left.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Here it is in Psalm chapter 3, verse 3. But, oh Lord, oh Yahweh, and he's crying out. And this is a psalm of David when he fled from his Absalom, his son.
Wicked ass Absalom.
Yeah. Psalms chapter 3, verse 3. But, oh Lord, art my shield for me, my glory, and the lifter up of mine head. And that's right, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is the lifter of my head, the elect, the house of David. And here it is on verse 4. I cried upon the Lord with my voice, and he heard me out of his holy hill. That holy hill is Mount Zion, and at the end of the verse is Selah or Salah.
Yep.
Yeah, because we're out here on the highways and byways crying out to the Lord. We're crying out.
We're here for that law, which is, the mark of exemption from judgment.
Yeah. I want to get exempt from the punishment that Yahweh Shai has set out for Israel.
That's right.
But not all of Israel, only the
wicked
66.
2/3.
Yeah, 66.6.
The 2 turds. But, yeah, I can't. So that concludes this week's camp. We were out here 2 days ago. So we like to go. In especially out here on the most public. I guess you say walkway. But hey, man, this is what it is. We ask that this, Lord, willing that this lesson was edifying. In any way, shape, or form. I know we went through a lot of random topics, but hopefully, any notes that you took were able to benefit you in the future. So, man. Long story short, this place doesn't have a lot of time, and especially not for the so-called white man and his so-called dying Edomite supremacy. So, yeah, man, this place is done. This place is done. So, we're going to end it the same way we started it, by giving all praises, honor, and infinite glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to our apostles and the elders at Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the hopeful elect out there pushing this word. DTA and a Bible ball soon.